Hello all and welcome to Astro Wheel of Fortune. My name is Vlada and I read tarot. And for this reading, I want to do a topic of what is the energy of this living space. So I thought this reading could be kind of useful for maybe you trying to get to know your home space, and maybe you want to get to know what is the energy like where you're living, how to amplify it, how to make it better. Or maybe you want to know about a certain place that you're considering moving into. This is more so for the physical space of like a home, a house, an apartment, rather than geographically, like in terms of country or city or anything like that. So this is actually about the house, the space, the apartment, the, bungalow, whatever, wherever you are thinking of living or wherever you are living. So, if you want to take a second and pause the video, we have 5 groups. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, and Group 5. The cards are all pre-shuffled for the oracle cards, but I will be shuffling the tarot on camera. So if you want to take a moment, pause the video, meditate over the cards, think of the space that you either want to move into or the space that you're inquiring about, and we're going to get started. So I'm going to get started with group number 1. So what is the energy of the space that you're asking about? Let's get into it. So first of all, we've got summer, a period of vitality and fruition. So that makes me think a space where there's a lot of vitality and fruition. We've also got Virgo. I analyze Virgo energy. I always think of Virgo energy as harvest energy as well. So there's a lot of, it could be a very fertile space. And we've also got divination with chives. So this could be a deeply, deeply spiritual space. This could be a home or, an apartment, a flat that is very, very spiritual. But I do feel like this, it's not like, it's not haunted or anything like that, but I'm getting an energy of a place where you are very spiritually protected. So if you're living in this space, you should know that you're very spiritually protected in this home, wherever you are. You're also very spiritually protected under the guise of fertility. So maybe if you wanted to have a child, this is a very good place for conception potentially. But one thing that I'm getting here as well is that this is a really good place to conceive of projects. So it doesn't have to be necessarily like, oh, this is like, for making babies. It's also for making shit happen. So making projects happen, making, pulling creativity out of you. But I do feel like this is, it's not quite like, I do feel like it's a cozy space. I think it's a cozy kind of like living environment, or, a cozy, area, or, like the apartment and that, or the house. It is a cozy space, but it's less about coziness and more about results, because Virgos are about results. We have to kind of like note that here. Even though Virgos really do love cozy, spaces, and they do love making their space very, very beautiful and very comfortable. They're not Taurian in that kind of way, where like Tauruses are more settled in the senses, whereas Virgo would be more about, I'm creating coziness so that I can support my comfort in order to get great results and feel good. This could also be a really good place in terms of health for you. So maybe this space has an energy of health and vitality. So it does say vitality and fruition here. So it does make me think that this space where you're living actually supports your health very well. Probably on a spiritual level, but I'm even getting, probably on a physical level as well. Like maybe the place doesn't really have a lot of mold or a lot of like, dampness, or it doesn't have like cold, it's not a cold space, because with the summer it does make me think of like a warm space. Maybe it's like well insulated or something like that, but I am getting that this is a space where you probably tend to be healthier than you would be if you were in another home space. So that's what I'm getting. It's a very definitely, I'm getting health oriented, spirituality oriented as well. So if you're someone who does practice divination, this is a really good place to increase your skills. I feel like this home space would really, really support your growth in skill. If you wanted to like learn tarot, if you wanted to learn, I don't know, scrying, potentially, we've got this scrying crystal ball here. If you wanted to learn, you know, mediumships skills or something like that, this space where you're living or that you're inquiring about would be a very like nice supportive energy. I wonder if like maybe you're someone who, if you live in this space, maybe you protect it a lot spiritually. Maybe you you know, take care to cleanse the place. Maybe you take care to protect the space on a spiritual level as well. So even if you're not doing that, there is like an energy around it. Like maybe it is that your guides are very protective over you, and as a result, automatically there's a protection around the home space. Maybe you have housemates who have very powerful spirit guides, and their spirit guides are also protecting the space and you in it, you know, that kind of way. But this is a really good place for results. So if you're looking for results, not just in terms of divination, but any sort of results, any sort of projects, because the summer energy is very dynamic as well. This is a really great place to, like, if you wanted to start a business, this is a good place to do that, to kind of like look into it. If you wanted to embark on anything, this is a really good place to do that. It is a really great place for rest as well, and not just like physical rest, but I'm getting emotional rest as well. We've got the Tower in reverse, and here I'm kind of getting, it's not a very chaotic space, which I like. You might find that about this place yourself, like maybe you find that it's very organized, because I do think of organization when I think of Virgos. So this is a very organized place. Or maybe if you're, for example, maybe you're coming to this reading and you're like, I'm wondering about, you know, the living situation because I'm considering like maybe moving into this place. And you're maybe wondering about the housemates. I am getting like any sort of housemates that are presently in this home space are organized, are clean. There's like an organization to people cleaning and tidying up here that I'm picking up on. We've got the Seven of Wands in reverse. Yeah, I'm getting it's not a very dramatic space. This is a space where people are very laid back, very chill. Whoever lives in this home, there's like a really, really laid back energy there. So, and I think it is because, to a point, it's because maybe the people are very organized and are very good at organizing chores around the house and stuff like that. But I'm also getting that spiritually, everything is very balanced in this home space, and so that really aids to the overall calming energy of this home, of this living space. But I'm getting a very warm energy. Again, a lot of vitality, a lot of fertility, a lot of results can come out from this place. And maybe the reason that so many results can come out from this place is because people do in fact feel calm, and people feel calm enough or organized enough to go after their dreams and to go after certain results. Maybe there's a masculine energy in charge. King of Cups could be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. This person could be like the owner of the house, or maybe the main person that is in charge of the home, is in charge of maybe, you know, keeping the house organized. But I do see that this is not someone who's like overly controlling. This is not someone who's overly, it doesn't have to be a man. Like it could be just somebody with a masculine presenting energy. So it could be you know, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces energy, that is not necessarily like in charge, but more so sets the tone for the household. So this person could be setting this calming, emotionally peaceful tone. It's almost like this person is, you know, the way we would say, you know, like we put down crystals to neutralize energy in a home space, or, you know, it's kind of like this person's like a walking crystal and they neutralize the energy around them. That's the kind of feeling that I'm getting. And everything in this home seems to happen without any friction or effort. That's what I like here, because the Seven of Wands is in reverse. There's not a lot of like push back or push and pull in this energy. It feels very fluid and malleable. I suppose Virgo is a mutable energy, even though it's an earth sign. It's mutable energy. It's an energy that likes to change and adapt, and it is very flexible. And maybe that's why things are so fertile, because they go with the flow. There's a lot of fertility, there's a lot of flexibility, there's not a lot of tension. But again, I do feel like your guides are kind of showing here the way that you maybe can improve the energy in this home if you wanted to, is to I wonder if something that could help is to not get too carried away with this flexibility, or like not to fall too far into the mutable energy, if that makes sense. Because I'm kind of getting like the mutable energy and the flexible energy is really good, but there is a need, maybe like setting boundaries is important in this home. But I do feel like right now, the way that I'm seeing this energy, like the boundaries are good and people are good at setting boundaries in this household, or this home supports this kind of like boundary setting energy. But I suppose like the message here is not to forget about boundaries, not to forget about the importance of, for example, maybe standing your ground on things sometimes, and not always going, oh, what, I don't mind, what do you want to do? Oh, I don't mind, what do you want to do? And it's 333 on the clock right now as I'm reading, so maybe for some of you, you've been seeing repeating threes. Three might be like your life path number, or maybe 3 is actually the number on your home, or maybe it's like, you know, maybe it's 33, maybe it's apartment or house 3 or 33, or maybe it's a summation. So let's say if your apartment number was like 121 or something like that, you know, or sorry, no, that's a 4. Let's say your apartment number was like 111. Those would add up to 3, you know. So maybe whatever you have, whatever the apartment number, the house number is, it adds up to 3 or something like that. But 3 is a number of fertility. 3 is the Empress. Actually, the Empress card is number 3, so a lot of fertility, a lot of creativity. 3 is a big number for creativity, for I feel like this is a really good home or living space for artists, a really good living space for people that are naturally creative, that want to express themselves, maybe even entertainers, like maybe musicians. And it suits those kind of people, and it might suit kind of like more flexible people. So maybe people that work very flexible hours, compared to like people that are a little bit more set in their ways. And like, not that one is correct and the other one is wrong. That's just what I'm picking up on. Like, this home space probably would suit a more creative type of person. But I'm kind of getting like creatives, entertainers, and I'm getting also like maybe people that are into divination. That seems to be the home's energy, and it's likely to support those kind of people. Very interesting. It kind of gives me kind of a little bit of an eccentric vibe with this group. That's what I'm getting. There's a little bit of eccentricity. Is eccentricity, is that the right way to say it? But yeah, there's like an eccentric energy to this apartment or to this home. That suits a very specific type of person, that suits a very specific type of personality here. But I do see, it's like, even though there is this eccentricity that I'm picking up on, at the same time, the vibes and the energy is very chill. So, but only a certain type of person may find this space chill, if that makes sense. You know, another person might actually get stressed out. And maybe because things change and shift, and like I'm even kind of getting like maybe this is a place where the decor of the overall space changes frequently. Maybe like the type of people that live in this home space tend to change, you know, like they might repaint the walls all the time or change the decorations all the time. There is that kind of energy, like very, very flexible, very changeable, but really fun energy at the same time. So maybe like a person who likes to have their furniture and their decorations the same way all the time may find the space stressful. But if you're the type of person that likes, you know, a bit of change, a little bit of flexibility, then you would probably actually really, really enjoy it. But yeah, kind of like I'm getting kind of like artists, spiritualists, entertainers, more creative kind of personalities would really thrive in this living space. That's what I'm getting. So that's what I have for you, group number 1. Really interesting. I really enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any feedback. I think this reading is kind of like interesting, and I feel like I would really love to see what kind of feedback people have for me for this specific reading. So if you have some feedback, do share it, and if you like the video, do like, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. And I'm going to move forward. So we're going to move forward to group number 2. So group number 2, let's see, what is the energy of this living space that you're inquiring about, whether it's your home or you're just asking about another living space. Okay, let's get into it. So first we've got fire, someone who is passionate, fearless, and exuberant. So very dynamic energy in this home space, in this living space. Things might move very quickly kind of like different to group 1, but I'm kind of getting more of very active people could live in this home. It could be a household that has a lot of fire signs in it. Sporty people, fitness oriented people could live in this living space. We've also got Scorpio energy. So I'm getting very strong Mars energy, because Mars is like this fiery energy, and the old ruler of Scorpio is Mars. So I'm getting this like Martian energy, very powerful, very ambitious people could be living in this space, or this place supports that kind of like Martian energy, that kind of like ambitious energy. With Scorpio, I'm also getting that it could be a place where your privacy is very supported. So you may feel, maybe where you live, quite literally on a physical level, it's a very private space. Like maybe you don't have a lot of neighbors, or you not a lot of people can look into where you live. Like, you know, maybe it's tucked in, maybe you live in a gated community. Like there's a real secure kind of energy around this space. And then we've also got longevity. Oh, longevity with chrysanthemum. So this makes sense with Scorpio, because Scorpio is a very committed sign, very loyal sign. So this is like energy of something that is very committed, very loyal, very, again, longevity is expressed here. So I'm getting this is a place that you move into, and you don't move into it for like just a few months or a while. It kind of pulls you in and sucks you in. So maybe if you're living in this space, maybe you've been living there for a very long time. Maybe you've been very dedicated to this space. Maybe you feel very loyal to this space even. So there could be a little bit, and we've got Scorpio on this card actually. The Scorpio is the little symbol for Scorpio is on the chrysanthemum card. So a lot of scorpionic energy. So Scorpio and the fire signs, Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo are really represented here. But this is definitely a place where very dedicated people live, or would best support people who are very, very dedicated. Whether they're very dedicated to a craft, to a career, to a way of living. This is the kind of place where I feel if you wanted to really change your life, and if you really wanted to commit to a certain, like let's say you wanted to commit to to a certain way of living your life through fitness or nutrition, or maybe you wanted to commit to a certain career and you really wanted to commit to like a life path, you would go and live in this space. Like this space is perfect for that kind of energy. So if you're considering this kind of space and you're really considering changing your life and really committing to a new version of yourself, because Scorpio also, obviously, as it says here, I transform, it indicates transformation. So if you really want to dedicate yourself to like a new version of yourself, this place is perfect. This place is perfect for that kind of like more intense transformation. And I do feel like your guides are showing me here, or like the cards are showing me here, that this space is somewhere that like you don't just move in lightly. Once you move in there, you kind of do stay there for, you know, at least a good while. It's not a place, it's not a one-stop shop kind of place. It's a place where you can really feel at home. And you know, we've got, that's so funny because we've got the time represented here, this like little watch, like pocket watch that is represented here, or a clock maybe. And this makes me feel like it's like, oh, you're moving in for a good bit of time. If you move in here, you move in for a good bit of time. You dedicate yourself to this place. Maybe some of you are asking about like a mortgage, and you're like, maybe you're asking about a home that you like, and you're wondering, is this going to be a place where I'll get to settle down? And I really do see that for some of you. For some of you, you'll be settling into this place for a very long time, if that's the kind of question you have. This is a really good place for courage as well. So this space, or this, whatever the energy of this living space is, excuse me, it has this energy of courage and bravery. So like if you are feeling like you could do with some courage to deep dive into a certain area of life, or a certain passion, or a certain life path, or again, as I said, like if you want to commit to like a way of living, this is a really good place for that. We've got the Death card, which is ruled by Scorpio. Energy is insane in this place. Like the Scorpionic energy is so, I do feel like this could be a good place for sharpening your intuitive skills, very similar to group one, but group one had definitely a very different vibe overall. But there are similarities, but like overall, I think very different vibes between these two groups. But very good for your spiritual practice. If you, especially if you're like a witch, or you do witchcraft, or you do any sort of like rituals, or any like spiritual practices, it could be something that really connects you to, I'm also getting like, it's a good place to connect to your ancestors. So maybe this is literally a place where you know, your ancestors are from, that you're inquiring about, or maybe this is just a place where your ancestors would feel like they can connect to you more. There is an intense energy to this place. That is one thing that I am picking up. It's like living in this space would create a lot of, I want to say like saturated energy around you. It has this like Scorpionic 8th house type of vibe to me here. The 8th house, number 8 is also important here. So for some of you, maybe again, like I said in the first group, maybe that means you're living you know, in apartment 8, or maybe it's repeated 8s or something like that, or maybe the whole number of the apartment or the house adds up to 8. So it could have the energy of 8. If you're into numerology, maybe that resonates. But this is a very, very intense place to live. Intense does not mean bad. Intense just means that extreme focus is possible in this space. So extreme focus for like, what do I really want to do with my life? Also, shadow work could be something that really comes to you naturally in this home. Like maybe you're finally able to step into shadow work. Maybe you're able to really explore your shadow side, and like, what do I feel ashamed about? What do I see as negative in myself? How can I have more compassion for myself? There's a really interesting energy of transformation to a very intense degree, but it's like you come out better in the end. So like you come out better on the other end. And this is definitely a place where you could settle down in. We've also got the Queen of Swords. Definitely focused. Queen of Swords is focused. Queen of Swords knows what she wants. So if you are looking for a place that is going to help you figure out what you want, I'm definitely seeing that this is a really good space for that. Very intense energy. I would like, one thing that I will say, if I was living in this like home space, I would be careful around having fights or like having not disagreements, and fights are obviously going to happen wherever people live, but it's more so like I would be very careful what I say, because I kind of feel like this home space can almost amplify like the sharpness or the harshness with which things can be spoken, because Scorpios, like they are, you know, Scorpio energy, as in like the Scorpio zodiac, you know, I always say this, please consider your whole chart, because some Scorpios are not very Scorpionic because they'll have other aspects that contradict that. But I am getting this kind of feeling from this group, as from this specific living space. It's like the reason that it's so intense is like because it almost forces people to think about the longevity and the lasting effect of their words and actions. So this space really makes you realize, it's like, oh, you know, an action or a word or you know, something that I do is not always just a throwaway thing. Actions have lasting effects. Words have lasting effects. So I think this place is meant to make people realize that, you know, I should think before I speak, or like at least to a certain degree. So I feel like this place attracts people who need to do shadow work and who need to go within and really figure out who they are. And I think, you know, if you're considering living there and if that's something that you want for yourself, this is a very very good place for that. Like, I'm kind of getting, it's like it's a place that can take in a person who is like, oh, I don't exactly know what I want from life, and it like transforms you and puts you into a place of, oh, I kind of figured out what my next steps are, and I kind of feel like I know who I want to be more. This is an interesting reading. I mean, I feel like I'm gonna say that for all of them, because I think this is a cool topic anyway. So I'm just, it's just interesting the messages that come through. Yeah, Ace. Improve this space improves communication, and not just like communication in terms of like how to talk and how to you know, communicate, be a more effective communicator. It's not really about that. The communication is more about mindful communication, I would say, and like how to communicate your thoughts exactly without, you know, not without hurting people's feelings, because it's like you can't really control whether you hurt people's feelings, but without maybe meaning to hurt people's feelings, without meaning to drive a knife into a person's heart. That's very dramatic, I'm aware, but like there's a lot of mindfulness to this, and there's like a slow energy, but very, very potent and very very intense energy. But I feel like this place can definitely attract some intense characters. So I'm kind of getting like big personalities can be attracted to this space or this living space. Active people, like people probably who like to whether like it's work out or be sporty or be active like day to day. Doesn't have to be like physical activity, but can be like people that like to stay busy and like to you know, live their life mindfully and live their life with a purpose. That's kind of the way that I'm picking up the energy for this group. I do feel like if you do end up living in this space, you end up living in this space for quite a long time, and there's a lot to take away from this living space. But this living space can bring a lot of clarity and a lot of confidence to who you want to be. I kind of feel like this is a place where a lot of bullshit gets caught. Or not caught, cut. A lot of bullshit gets cut. It's kind of like cut the bullshit. So if you want to cut the bullshit in your life, this is probably a good living space for you, or maybe you're literally living in this space and you're aware of that already. So that's what I see for you, group number 2. I do feel with the Two of Wands, because the Two of Wands sometimes, not always, but sometimes makes me think of moving on and moving forward and like, you know, moving on from an old chapter. To me, this is like, once you live in this place, it might be hard to leave this place. And I'm not getting necessarily because of anything like, oh, it's like a contract or something like that. It feels more like this energy is very intoxicating. This energy is very intense, and this living space can really, you could feel this like indescribable loyalty towards this living space, and it's almost like you can't describe it. It's like, I have this loyalty towards this space. I don't want to leave this space. I can't really explain why, but I feel, and I feel like this is a place, even if you ever leave it, there's always going to be a level of like nostalgia. It's going to be very hard to forget this place, if that makes sense, or this home. Maybe for some of you, this is like a childhood home of yours, you know, and it's like, yeah, there's been a lot of intense times in this house. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and there's been a lot of intense energy, but I feel like I will always have this strong nostalgia towards this place of living. So that's what I have for you, group number 2. Again, as I said for group 1, I definitely would love to hear some feedback on this one, because I don't know, this topic is really interesting to me. So if you feel like sharing feedback, I would love to hear it. And if you like this video, do like, subscribe, and comment. And I'm going to move forward. And I'm going to move on to group number 3. So group number 3, let's see, what is this living space? What do you need to know about it? Let's just see what the cards want to say about this living space, or this home space where maybe you live. We've got support. That's nice. You do not have to face everything alone. Accept help and support from others. So this could be a very supportive space, a very collaborative kind of space. This could be a place where the tenants could be really caring and very nurturing towards each other. The number 22 is making me think of the balance as well. So it could be a 2, like a number 2, like maybe you know, the apartment or the house number is 2, or maybe all the numbers add up to 2, or maybe it's they all add up to 22, or it's a 22 number. But this is a very collaborative space. Really, this does feel like a family space probably, or you at least feel like family with the people that you're living with. Even if you don't feel like straight up family with the people that you're living with, you at least feel this kind of like warmth. There's a warmth to this energy. We've also got Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde, of course, makes me think of, well, first of all, you might have some problems with technology or things breaking often in this home space. It could be that I'm kind of getting like electricity might go out from time to time, or like it could be that you have frequent problems with Wi-Fi, or the internet goes out or something like that quite frequently. So for some of you, maybe this living space is, even though it's a very warm space, things don't always work in accordance. So you might feel like it's really hard to get things working, or like maybe washing machines break, you know, dishwashers break all the time or something like that. That could be a vibe that your home has as well, in a more physical sense. But I do feel like this could also be a place where people are always forced to learn how to do better in terms of communication. People are always forced to another thing that this could be, one thing that I'm getting, is that some of you may not understand each other. So it may sometimes feel like people quite literally are speaking different languages. So maybe you literally live with people that speak a different language to you. But on other kind of like the flip coin of that, or the flip side of that, it could be that you live in a space where you constantly have to kind of like adapt in your communication. So it could be that maybe generations are very different. So you could be living with someone who's very different to you generationally, and communication requires extra effort. That's basically what I'm getting here in this home. Not that doesn't necessarily mean bad or good. It can honestly be both. It could honestly be one or the other. I will allow you to kind of like take that on, you know, whatever way that resonates, because I don't want to limit people watching this. So but I do feel like there's this need to constantly adjust your communication style or consider a new way of communicating with the people that you're living with. But that can be a good thing as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. And then we've got leadership with broccoli. Leadership with, I'm getting very strong Gemini energy, so maybe you're a Gemini, or there's a lot of Gemini energy around the home. But also there's Libra represented here, so I'm kind of getting air sign energy probably is very strong. I feel like especially something about this feels like people take the initiative to help each other, even if there's disagreements and even if people don't really know the best way to communicate. I feel like people do take the initiative to be there for each other. So for some reason, it does make me feel like of a family home. It's like we might have a fight, but like the next moment, if you need help, if you need support, I'm going to be there for you. You know, that kind of way. It's like, oh, I'm kind of getting like maybe siblings even having fights and being like, you know, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to be there for you. That kind of energy. Or even if it's just housemates, it could be like maybe you and your housemates can disagree, or maybe there's like a disagreement or a miscommunication. At the end of the day, it still doesn't matter, because you will still support each other and there will still be this initiative to be there for each other. I do feel like I'm kind of getting everyone in this space, in this home space, is very, very individualistic. So everyone has a very individual way of expressing themselves. And maybe that's why this Mercury retrograde is here. It's like communication might be, because for me, Mercury retrograde, it's not just because I feel like Mercury retrograde gets like a bad rep, but I do feel like in a lot of ways, Mercury retrograde is not just about like, oh, miscommunication and X is coming back and, you know, like all of that. It's also about reconsidering the way that you think and reconsidering the way that you communicate. So maybe this living space is in fact is a really good place, because not necessarily that it makes you reconsider your communication style because you're fearful or because you think you need to be different in your communication style to pander or to change it, but more so because you learn a lot from the people that you're living with. So it could be like, oh, I'm living with this person who's like vastly different to me and is a very different individual to me, but they teach me a lot. And I can see that the way that they communicate is different to me, but I think there's a lot for me to learn from that, because I believe Mercury retrograde is a period of time for us to rethink and reconsider and reevaluate what we kind of like, how we live on an autopilot. And that's the way I see retrogrades in general. So it's kind of like any retrograde. What does the planet going into retrograde represent? Let's say, like, again, like we said, Mercury or Venus. When it goes into retrograde, it's our time to reconsider, rethink, and reevaluate how we do the things associated with that planet. So for Mercury, it's communication. For Venus, it's love, it's comfort, it's money, you know, so luxury, you know, those kind of things. So I do feel like this space makes you reconsider and rethink the way that you communicate, the way that you think, and the opinions that you hold. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Not at all. Number 6 is very strong here as well. We've got 5, 1, and 6. So 5 plus 1 is 6, and we've got the 6 card here. So I know I said 2 seem to be important, but 6 seems to be important as well. So for some of you, maybe this is a 6 space. Okay, let's get into tarot. I feel like I've talked so long with just the oracle cards, but I feel like they were giving me a lot here. Okay, this space. Oh, Wheel of Fortune. This could be like a lucky space. This could be a place where a lot of luck could come to you when you're living there, or when you're even hanging out there, when you're around this place, you could feel like all of a sudden your look changes. So for example, if you're considering this as a home, it could be that when you move to this home, your look kind of seems to amplify, and you might feel more fortunate. Okay. We've also got the King of Wands. Yeah, I do feel everyone's very individualistic in this house, or in this living space. It feels like everyone, but people are not afraid to be individuals in a way, so it does feel like a place where individuality is valued and is, revered. So maybe everyone gets to express themselves very uniquely. Sagittarius energy is very strong. I know I'm like naming so many signs, and I don't like going into like, I'm gonna name like every single sign under the sun, but I am getting Sagittarian energy quite strongly in this home space as well, or living space. And Sagittarius energy, Sagittarians, yeah, like I do feel something about Sagittarian energy is like, Sagittarian energy has so many opinions and is very, very opinionated and very proud in their opinions. But oftentimes their biggest challenge is changing their mind and changing their opinion, and reconsidering the way that they think, because I do feel like Sagittarians can be very, very stubborn with their opinions and their ideas. So there is a stubbornness to this home, but it's like, it's kind of good. It's kind of good that people are so, just like, I'm getting like very strong characters with very strong opinions, with very strong, yeah, we've got the Queen of Swords. Honestly, some of you might have also been attracted to group number 2. Although what I'm gonna say with group number 2, there was a slightly different vibe, because I do feel like with this group it may not be as a, because in group 2 we had this energy of like, I won't go on about group 2, but with this group, what I'm getting here is that it may not be a place where you live for too long. It may not be a place that you stay at for too long. So maybe if you're considering moving to this place, this could be a really good place for, reconsidering your opinions if you want to have a bit of a challenge with your opinions. But I also feel like if you move into this house space is good for generating, maybe finding friends or finding people who are going to be supportive of you. And I don't mean that these people have to literally live with you. It could just be like the community around this house space is very supportive. But it does feel like a place that you do move on from eventually. It's like a place that you move on from eventually. It's not a place that you settle down in. It's not a place that you like live forever in. That's what I'm getting. It's more so of a place where, like I've gathered everything I needed and now I'm ready to move forward. But I'm definitely getting, this is a place that inspires leadership, autonomy, and I suppose like conviction in yourself. I'm kind of getting like, this could be a place where you feel more confident to express yourself in a very convincing and, I'm trying to pick up the words that would be the best to describe this kind of like energy that I'm getting. It's like it's a place that breeds a leader, I suppose. I guess that's something that I'm trying to say. It's like a place that creates a leader, creates a very autonomous person, someone who with a lot of like strong opinions, but also someone who realizes that their opinion is not just their, like everyone's opinion, that there's people who will always have a different opinion, who will come from a different background. So it could be like a place where I do kind of get a place where maybe it's there's a lot of big personalities that gather. And I'm getting a bit of a ringing in my left ear. But there's a pride and there's a conviction to this energy. Also, kind of like what I'm getting here is this group, this space, this living space can be a place where you realize that you're not alone in your struggles. So maybe the people that you meet in this living space or the people that you live with in this living space, you like, even if it's your partner, even if it's like someone that personally, you really learn this person or these people have also gone through their own versions of struggle. So there's kind of like realizing that your struggle is not the only struggle, that there are different types of struggles. But it's also like this interest, because I do feel like this is a place where people do stay optimistic as well, and it's kind of like there's a really hopeful energy. So honestly, this kind of feels more like I do feel like this reminds me of, like, you know, when people live together in college, when people live together in like this is like a college housemates, roommates, that kind of energy. But it doesn't have to be. It can be like anything. But it's that vibe with, like, where people form new opinions and realize, like, kind of like get out of a smaller way of thinking, I suppose. But again, I'm not saying that you're thinking in a small way or anything like that. We can always expand our way of thinking, you know. It's like it's a constant process that we can work on. But I feel like if you wanted to expand your way of thinking and expand your knowledge or your understanding of people, and maybe, like, I'm kind of getting even other cultures, because the Wheel of Fortune sometimes makes me think of other cultures, other perspectives, other points of view. It's like, if you want to create a broader energy around that, this is a living space that would be perfect. But if you're living in the space right now, I'm not necessarily getting that this is like a forever home or anything like that, but this is always going to be a place that you look back on and go, I'm so glad that I got to live there, or I got to experience this living space, because it made me realize like certain things, or change certain opinions, or kind of like help you become more open-minded. This is definitely an energy of going from being slightly more closed-minded to slightly more open-minded, or a lot more open-minded. So that's what I get for this home space. And this is not just something that goes for you. I also feel like if you are like somebody who's living in this home space, you're someone who provides this opening of mind to other people who you're living with. So it's kind of like it's a symbiotic relationship in a way. Okay, so let's move on. If you like this reading, do like, subscribe, and comment. I'd love to hear feedback. And I'm going to move on to group number 4. So let's see group number 4. This living space. What is it like? What do you need to know about it? What are we trying to see here? Oh, we've got love. You are worthy of love. It will find you. Give the love you would like to receive. Okay. Oh, this is like a very romantic space. This is a place, I'm kind of getting like this would be like a perfect home for newlyweds or something like that, or like a new couple. Like or not necessarily a new couple, like if a couple wanted to like move in together and live together, this would breed a lot of love, a lot of, I mean, 5th house can also be the house of children. So this could be a perfect place to have children. And we've also got emotion. And we've got number 4. 3. We kind of have 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. This is a very... Wow, like this is definitely a place where a lot of love is created. And it's not just from you. It's not just because of the people that live there, but this space, this home space, has this energy of deep emotion and deep love. This is a place where I definitely feel like for a lot of you, this could be a place where you could have children, where you could raise children, where you could move in with, like, again, as I said, like if you're newlyweds, or if you're maybe like in a relationship with someone and you're looking for a place together, this is like a really good place to move to. This is definitely a home space that encourages romance, encourages very warm feelings. I definitely feel like this is the first group here that is like not as I feel like, okay, one of the groups wasn't so individualistic as well, but I definitely feel like this has the biggest like this is a home for a family kind of feeling for me. A family for love, for romance, for this is like a place for emotion rather than purpose for career or anything like that. This is definitely a home that is created with, energetically created with a purpose of family energy or familial relationships. But especially I'm kind of getting like a young family. I'm kind of getting like, you know, maybe parents that have very young children. This doesn't feel like maybe a generational home or anything like that. For some of you, maybe it is, but it does feel like a young family space, good for a young couple or a young family just in general. Okay, very, very cool. Very emotional, very warm, very nurturing kind of space. And even if this is not a place where a couple lives, even if it's not like a place where there's a lot of romance currently, there's potential for that in the future. So, or even if this is like a place where a lot of like housemates live and like these people don't have a lot of romantic relationships, it could be that you know, you could find, you and your housemates end up like finding your partners while you're living in this home. So we've got the Knight of Pentacles first of all as the tarot here. We've got well, we've got patience and kind of like slow progress, first of all. This is definitely like a slower, kind of like don't worry, don't rush kind of energy. Don't worry, take your time. Don't put yourself under pressure. I'm also seeing with the Five of Cups, this is the energy of a home where you should take your time to look at the things that you regret and allow yourself to forgive yourself for certain things. So I feel like whoever moves into this living space might actually find that they have more compassion for themselves all of a sudden. May find that they have more compassion, maybe not just for themselves, but for other people as well. We've also got the Star card, which is a very healing energy. This is energy of peace as well to me. But it also kind of like, the Star card is a card of healing post. It's a card of hope, and it's the energy of like kind of like the calmness and the relaxation after your struggle. So I feel like a lot of people that come into this home may come from like a home that is troubled before that, or a home that not necessarily is troubled, but maybe a living space where there was a lot of chaos before that. So this is definitely a house or a space where people, when they move into it, like living in this place feels like you're almost going on a retreat, or you're going into recovery, or you're going into some sort of healing space. So it might feel like wherever you were living before that, you know, maybe even if it wasn't like a strictly terrible place to live in, it may have been a little bit more chaotic. It could have been a little bit more harsh or a little bit more difficult to live in. Whereas there's a lot of coziness that I'm picking up on with group number 4. You know, this home space, this living space, there's a coziness to it. There's a warmth to it. There's a, oh, I feel like I can be emotionally safe here. So maybe this could also be a place where a person might find that they're finally able to express more emotion. They're able to express more. Listen. 10 of Cups, listen. 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups. That's it. That's all I have to say. I mean, I just think, look at this card, and it's literally a couple with like kids, you know? So I definitely feel like, for some of you, maybe if you're looking at this group and you're asking about your current place, or maybe a place you're considering buying, this is definitely a place where you can stay long term. I'm definitely seeing that. This is definitely like a very family oriented energy that I'm picking up on. The perfect place to raise a family, the perfect place to yeah, I know we've got the 5th house here, but I honestly am getting a bit of a 4th house energy as well. This is definitely a place where you could raise a family, where there a lot of traditions could be formed around this house. A lot of safety there. This is a very safe space, a very safe home. It might be like a home in a safe neighborhood, or like a safe again, like it could be like in one of the other groups, it could be this energy of like somewhere where you feel quite secure, like maybe it's a gated community, or you know, it's like, you know, that the people who live in the space are, you know, you trust the energy of the house. Basically, that's the kind of vibe that I'm picking up on here. But this is a very safe space, healing space, you know, a place where you can finally heal, maybe even past regrets or past mistakes that you've made. For some of you, I kind of feel like even if you're a couple and maybe you're moving from like one house to another, it could even help like heal your relationship. Like this new home space can even help maybe bring a spark back into your relationship as well. Not necessarily that I'm saying that there's no spark in your relationship if you are in one, but it could just like maybe amplify the spark in your relationship. That could be a part of it. But this is definitely a very cozy energy. Even if you're not in a relationship, even if you don't have a family, this space that you're inquiring about has that potential to bring that, you know, to attract it. Maybe if you're trying to manifest something like that for yourself, you know, you could attract that to yourself through that. So that's what I have for you, group number 4. Really interesting reading. Again, I keep saying they're interesting. All of them are interesting. But I do feel like yours is very straightforward. That's why I feel like I'm not even talking for that long for group 4. But it's genuinely because I don't think there's much else to say. It's just a very loving, emotionally stable, emotionally healthy energy for this living space. And it's for some of you, maybe you're asking about your childhood home. And even if you feel like don't feel like it was always like that, maybe it's not for some of you, but like maybe for a small few of you, this could be like a family home that was very loving, that was very healing. So but I do feel like for most of you that are asking, maybe you're asking about like a future home where you're going to be settling down, or maybe like an apartment or home where you're moving in with your partner, or maybe you're living here with your partner. This is definitely a place where you could settle down. This is definitely a place where you could have a family and have like this healthy emotional connection in. So that's what we got for group number 4. If you liked it, do like, subscribe, and definitely comment with your feedback. I'd love to hear it. And I'm going to move on to group number 5. So group number 5, let's see. You're the only one that got 2 astrology cards. So let's get into it. What is it about your living space, or the living space that you're asking about, that you need to know? We've got illumination. Light from flames will begin to illuminate everything around you, revealing how things truly are. Well, first of all, if I want to look at it from like a more physical 3D point of view, this might be a very well lit place. Like it might have a lot of good light. Like light might be you know, maybe a lot of windows, maybe high ceilings with big windows or something like that, or just a place where you feel like a lot of light enters this space, first of all. But second of all, it could be a place that is a place where it's very hard to hide the good things about yourself or the bad things about yourself, or like not necessarily the bad things, but like maybe things that you want to keep hidden. This is definitely a place where honesty is prevalent. Excuse me. Honesty is prevalent. Honesty and authenticity, I would say, even more so. So maybe this space helps you be more authentic, helps you be more true to yourself. We've also got earth element stability. So this is a stable enough living space. This is probably a place where I'm also getting with the earth element here with stability, I'm getting like actually physically this could be a really well built home or a very well built apartment block or something like that. You know, it's like very well built. It's not a flimsy kind of structure. That's one thing that I'm picking up on as well. So I do feel like maybe architecturally this home is really like well built, well structured, you know, a lot of light comes in, maybe it's like well insulated. There is this kind of like this house or this apartment or like whatever this living space is can withstand time, you know, and people could live in it for a very long time. And it will always be structurally supported because it was built on a really good foundation. And then we've also got third house messages, but third house is also the house of neighbors. So you might really get on with your neighbors wherever this home is, wherever this living spaces, not just in terms of housemates or roommates, but specifically like neighbors, like maybe your next door neighbor or neighbors in the neighborhood, the estate that you're in. There could be a lot of resonant energy between you and like any sort of neighbors involved. And then we've also got continuance. But the continuance energy makes me think of like this home has the potential to withstand time, to and we've got Capricorn here. So Capricorn is a very kind of like committed energy, dedicated energy. Capricorn's like Capricorn energy, if it says it's going to do something, it's going to do something. So, but also Capricorns are to me, or like Capricorn energy to me is all about being authentic, but also I feel like has very good boundaries with what they share or overshare. For some of you, I kind of feel like this is a good place if you are looking for a place where you have enough privacy for yourself, where like people are not invasive, but at the same time where you can be as authentic as possible and show as much as you want, but also retain as much information about yourself as you want as well. This is a very stable energy. This is a very stable place of living. That is something that I'm picking up on. With the earth element here, and just there's this feeling of like there's no need to worry that something is gonna like change at a drop of a hat, if that makes sense. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here. Oh, wow. This could be a bit of a serious place. It's kind of funny because one of the groups that we've had, there was a lot of flexibility, and there's a lot of energy of like things moving around and the decor changing, and maybe the decorations being put up, different decorations being put up from time to time, and like different people painting the walls different colors. Here I definitely see more of a longevity energy. It's kind of like, no, this is the way that the house is, this is the way that the apartment is, or whatever, and that's the way that it's going to stay. There is this decisive energy around this living space. So it could even be that the materials that are used to create this home space are so durable that it's even hard to like even take them, like if it's tiles or whatever, it would be easier to just leave them there and to like, maybe restore them or clean them rather than to like completely replace them. Okay, we've got the Seven of Swords. And I do feel Seven of Swords makes me think of this illumination card. I do feel like there is this kind of feeling that this is going to be, or is, a home space where it's kind of hard to be secretive about who you truly are in your authenticity. It's kind of like you will find it hard to hide authenticity or your authentic self in this home. Oh, and I just noticed, look at that. We've got 27 and 27, two 27s here. Two cards that have 27 on them. We've also got the 10 of Cups. So the 10 of Cups came out in one of the previous groups as well. And I do feel like this is definitely a home that could have like generations living in it. This is definitely a home where you could have children, where you could, it could even be a home that gets passed down to you by generations. So maybe this is like a home that you inherit. I mean, I know that's not going to resonate for all of you, but maybe, or it could be a home, like if you're thinking of buying this home or you've bought this home, I do feel like if you own this place, you're going to be passing it on to your children. It could be that your children grow up there as well. And maybe it's like your children have children, and, that kind of way. There is a bit of a generational energy to this home that I'm picking up on. Got the Six of Wands, and I'm just going to pick one more card. what I'm getting is that this place must be like old, like an old build, because I'm getting there's a lot of history. There's a lot. There could be also like a lot that you don't know about this home. So maybe there's a lot of history or a lot of. I'm kind of getting more like information. So maybe there's a certain part of history about this home that you don't know. Maybe there's a certain past to this home that you don't know that maybe you realize down the line. For some of you, for some reason, I'm getting is that it could be that you realize that something happened in this home that you never knew happened. Like, so it could be directly related to your ancestors, if this is a home that you inherited, or it could be something like, oh, did you know that, like actually this house used to belong to like this person and they were very well known or something like that? Or did you know this person used to like, I don't know, do crime, or it was like a mafia boss's house or something. Like, I'm kind of getting there's some sort of like history to this house that you may not be privy to currently, but you might find out down the line. Or maybe you do, and maybe that's been revealed to you recently or in the past. But there's a lot to this home. I feel like there's a lot of energy to this home. I kind of feel like there's because this doesn't feel a home that hasn't seen many people. This feels like a home that has seen many generations, many people, many different characters. And so in a way, I do feel like maybe this house needs to be cleansed, because it could even be that there's a lot of conflicting energies that have passed through this house. But I'm not necessarily getting that this is anything negative. It just kind of feels like so many people or so many energies have passed through it that it might sometimes be confusing, I guess. This could be a place where I like, okay, this is not to be grim, but like maybe a good few people have, maybe like this could be built on the grounds of like a cemetery or something like that, because I keep getting like, oh, you may not know, but like they're a lot of people have died around this area or something like that. Because it does feel like generations and generations and generations of people, and so for some reason I got the imagery of cemetery. Maybe it's built near a cemetery, maybe, and so maybe there's a lot of maybe that's why I'm just getting the generations and generations and generations of people. For some of you, I definitely feel like if this is your current home, I feel like your guides are saying, oh, and I'm knocking over things. Maybe your guides are saying it would be a good idea to cleanse it because there's a lot of concentrated energy here. But I am getting, even if it's not near a cemetery or isn't built on like, an old cemetery grounds or anything like that, it could be that it's just that this home has been through a lot of generations. So maybe this house has been passed on from generation to generation to generation. Or maybe if this is like a house that you move into and it's not something that was passed on to you, maybe you're even renting it, but maybe the owners or the landlord, whoever is the person that owns it, they inherited it from like, generations and generations and generations. It feels like a house with a lot of history, with a lot of stories. It's kind of like, oh, it's had so many types of characters, so many stories, so many different things have happened in this home. It's almost like it's hard to just pick one story. Maybe even it's like maybe it's even hard to just attribute this space, this area of land, to just one event or to just one occurrence. It feels very rich in excuse me. It feels very rich in history. That's the way that I'm picking up on here. But I do feel like this house is a very like stable. It just needs cleansing. It just needs. I also feel like if you're living in this home, it's almost like maybe honoring the history of this home, or honoring the history of the land that the home is built on. For some of you, maybe you are living in a home that is built on like land that is like, for some reason I'm hearing stolen land, so maybe for some of you that'll resonate. But I do feel like generations and generations and generation, and there's kind of like honoring that kind of like history of this place will create a happier and more warm environment. It's almost like if you don't, this house, I'm kind of getting like this house has a lot of personality, and so this home or this like living space demands this kind of like respect and honor towards it. So your guys are saying, you know, like almost interacting with this home or interacting with this living space as if it was like an entity, as if it was a person. I'm even getting, for some of you, maybe offerings could be something that could really help you create like a more comforting energy around this home. Maybe, you know, if it is a generational thing and it is your family, it could be like giving offerings up to your ancestors. That is something that I'm getting as well. But I think that's all I'm getting. Group number 5. So very interesting. Again, I know I said very interesting for every single group, but this legitimately was a very interesting reading. I really enjoyed doing it. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I hope you had a lot of fun too. If you liked it, do like, subscribe, and comment with your feedback if you feel like it. I would really, really love to hear if it resonated, if it, you know, made any sense. And yeah, also I wanted to say for this group, one thing that I forgot to say is another thing, because the 3rd house can talk about siblings as well. So because I'm kind of getting like, maybe this is a house with a lot of family history, it could be that, you know, this is a home that reminds you of your siblings as well. For some of you, that's just something that I wanted to mention and I forgot. So that's what I have for you. I'm going to leave you here and I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.